Music. I love it and you love it. We've been engaging in music since our ancestors oogahed their first booga. And I'd like, if I may, to tell you about my top 5 favourite bands. Now, this list isn't in any particular order, with the exception of number 1. Nor do I proclaim to be an expert in any of these. I've got too much Elder Scrolls lore in my brain to be dealing with that type of stuff. So, sit comfortably, and let's begin. I first discovered the Sisters of Mercy at the bottom of a box filled with my dad's CDs back in 2016. There it was, Floodland, in all its splendour. And unfortunately, I couldn't have cared less about it. I shoved it on my CD shelf and forgot about it. 2 years later though, I decided to give it a spin, and was immediately met with the big, thunderous booming sound of Dr. Avalanche, the band's drum machine, and Andrew Eldritch's deep, haunting, husky voice. I was hooked. The Sisters of Mercy contributed to so much of the sound of my late 2010s, early 2020s. I loved this band. I have listened to nearly everything this project has put out, official and bootleg, and there's a lot of bootlegs. From their early, gnarly demos to their sort of moody, chimey album First, Last and Always, up until these new unofficial recordings. I love all of it. But there's one that takes the cake for me, and that is the Body and Soul EP. Because not only is it a phenomenal EP, it has my favourite song of all time, the title track, Body and Soul. This song just like sums up everything I like about post-punk and goth music. It's moody, it's atmospheric, the reverb just hits my ears perfectly, and I can't get enough of this song. 6 years later after discovering this song, I still get chills listening to it. I think it's one of the most amazing encapsulations of a band's work and a particular sound from a particular era. The way the drums reverberate, the way the guitars twang, the way that it's mixed and composed, it just satisfies my brain on such a fundamental primal level. I don't think anything is ever going to resonate with me possibly as much as that song, with the exception of Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, but that's a video for another day. I came across Clan of Zymox during the height of my exploration into goth and its subgenres in the spring of 2019. The moment I heard the eerie synths and luxurious bassline played by Anke Vollber of Backdoor, I knew this was going to be a band that was going to stick with me for a while. Zymox have an almost symphonic approach to darkwave, with luscious synth strings and cinematic melodies. It sends my mind into melancholy dreamscapes that I seldom want to leave. Picking a favourite album for this band was quite an easy affair, as in my mind there were 2 high points and 2 low points. The high points being 1983 to 1991 and 1997 to 2001, and at the pinnacle of this high point is Medusa. I was torn for a while between this and their third release, A Twist of Shadows. But I feel like Medusa, their second release, has a more consistent catalogue of songs and feels like a better encapsulation of the band's modus operandi. The second and title track, Medusa, is a perfect summarisation of this soundscape, with its ethereal synths and layered percussion, with Ronnie Mooring's distinct, shallow voice. It almost feels like he's whispering cryptic messages behind a wall of sound to you. If you haven't heard Clan of Zymox, what are you doing? Go listen to it, man! This next band is my most sentimental band, the Moody Blues. They were one of my father's favourite bands. When I was 10, when my dad had days off work, he'd take me in his van on trips around the Gower, and he would show me his favourite music. Stuff like Kiss, The Kinks, Small Faces, and the Moody Blues. I didn't pay much attention to him at the time. I was just happy to be spending time with my father. A year later, he was gone. They played Nights in White Satin at his funeral, and I was left grief-stricken with a handful of his CDs. One of which was a Moody Blues CD. This Moody Blues CD. I would listen to this CD every night to comfort myself. In time, comfort became curiosity, and curiosity became awe. The Moodies really captured my heart and soul with their signature flute solos, rich harmonies, inspired lyrics, And oh yeah, the Mellotron. I have enjoyed every iteration and style shift of this band, but for me, their magnum opus is Seven So Young. This album, for me, represents the band on their A-game. Such a plethora of lyrical and tonal variety. Now, it was really hard for me to pick a favourite track, but I boiled it down to New Horizons. Justin Hayward sings so passionately on this song, and the guitar solo makes me well up. It's such a beautiful, heartfelt track, and it just encapsulates everything I love about the Moody Blues.
I'm punting, I'm beagling, I'm whining, reclining, I'm rocking.
I'm Fish or Hogarth. Both. Both are good. And you're a fanny for thinking otherwise. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You. Marillion are an incredibly recent addition to my listening library. Sure, I grew up with them, but I didn't like them. But as I've gotten older and my tastes have changed and, for lack of a better term, matured, I've really learnt to appreciate them. Plus, I have the bonus of not being biased towards one iteration of the other. I love the Fish era. I love the Steve Hogarth era, from what I've listened to. There are so many diverse, fascinating concepts and albums in the Steve Hogarth era. I've barely touched the surface. I think I've listened to about 6 of them. Now, I've resisted separating the 2 eras of Marillion for this list, as I don't think it's fair that a band swapping one member constitutes a whole separate entry. So without further ado, here is my one pick, my one Marillion album that I like out of the ones I've listened to. My favourite Marillion album thus far is Season's End. I really admire this album. It feels like a wild, reignited flame, full of energy, youth and wonder. And I feel like the track The Space really encapsulates that feeling perfectly. I remember listening to this song for the first time and absolutely being blown away by just the scope it was presenting and the movements within it. The sections blow my mind. I really love Marillion. I can't wait to explore more of their catalogue. This is the pinnacle of my music taste. Get it? Now, I have a very complicated history with this band that I'll probably get into in a later video, but needless to say, this is my favourite band of all time. I discovered Ghost during the Pope Star cycle when Papa Emeritus 3 was still alive. Rest in peace, big man. You know the second you hear a certain sound, a certain tone, a certain soundscape, that is going to stick with you for the rest of your damn life. And the opening notes of Square Hammer absolutely ensnared me. It was everything I loved about rock and metal wrapped up in this camp satanic bow with a strange but inviting voice on top. Needless to say, I was satanised. This was the easiest album on this entire list to just pick out. It's Prequel. Prequel is my favourite Ghost album, there's no question about that. It is everything that I had loved about Ghost previously, with some flecks of neo-prog and disco. Every track on this album is hooky as hell, and those diss track-esque lyrics on songs like Faith and Pro Memoria are scathingly good. But the song that takes the cake for me is Witch Image. There's a certain 60s twang to this song that I can't quite put my finger on, but it just adds so much to this hard rock belter. But it absolutely tickles my eardrums. It's like cheese. This song is like cheese, it's that good, it's addictive. And there we have it, my top 5 favourite bands. If you want to let us know where your top 5 favourite bands are, drop them down below. If I am near to them, I'll give them a spin. I'm wondering what this list will look like in 5 years, whether I've discovered stuff that takes the place of some of this stuff, or whether it'll be generally the same. I'm curious. I'm someone who likes absorbing new music, so this would be a cool experiment to revisit in maybe half a decade. I'd like to shout out the people closest to me who helped me make this first video. I'm so grateful for the help, and I'll buy you sweets. I'll buy you sweets. You like sweets? Hell yeah. I'll get you sweets. Thanks for watching. Hwyl fawr.